If you're like me, some years you get really inspired by setting goals, particularly money goals, but for others, it just doesn't happen. So whether you set financial resolutions at the beginning of this year or wish you had, this podcast is for you. I'm going to review ways to improve your finances with a mid-year checklist for more success. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'm Laura Adams, an award-winning author, financial spokesperson, money speaker, founder of the Money Stack newsletter, and host of the Money Girl podcast with 43 million downloads. If you're enjoying the show or have used it to level up your finances, I'd love to get your rating or review in the podcast app of your choice. Maybe it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening. Or maybe you have a question that I can answer on the show. You can call 302-364-0308 and leave a voice message. You can also send me an email using my contact page at lauradadams.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for the Money Stack newsletter. There are free and paid options, and if you're so inspired, the premium version is a great way to show your support for me and the community. And while you're on the website, you can also learn more about the ways that I work with clients and the type of services that I offer. So let's get into a mid-year money checkup. This is a great time to do it, obviously, because the beginning of July marks the year's halfway point. So it's a good time to just review your finances, make any needed adjustments, and stay on track with your goals. Now, maybe you're saying, well, Laura, I don't have any money goals. And, I totally get that. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly what your financial goals should be. So I want to encourage you to really think about that. What do you want to accomplish with your limited financial resources? And everyone is going to be different here. It's going to depend on what you want to accomplish personally for your family. It's going to depend on your age, maybe how far away or close you are to retirement. But I would encourage you to create some goals by simply jotting them down. Maybe it's on paper or a computer spreadsheet or app. Aim high, hold nothing back. Really jot down everything that you want to achieve. Maybe it's remodeling your kitchen. Maybe you want to take a memorable vacation, get out of debt, buy an investment property, put a child through college, or have an early retirement. The sky is the limit. Whatever it is, write it down no matter how out of reach it may seem right now. And another way to focus your financial life and goals, and particularly if you're struggling to create goals, is just to come up with a word or theme as your one money objective. And it could stay the same every year for your entire life, or you could create a word of the year or a phrase of the year that captures what you're thinking about right now. It's about your current dreams, like retirement, financial freedom, charity, self-employment, or anything that motivates and inspires you to create good money habits. I've shared on the podcast before that my one money objective is retirement, and it has been retirement for a long time. So when I'm making decisions about my life and my finances, if it doesn't move me closer to having a really comfortable, healthy retirement, I'm not going to do it. I want to make every decision around that idea of a comfortable retirement. So that's kind of my North Star. And maybe that could help you come up with a primary objective if you don't have specific money goals. And I also want to encourage you to take 30 minutes or an hour to apply the 7-point checklist that we're going to go through. Applying that to your finances can really help you clarify your life. And you're likely going to find areas where you're in great shape. You're doing really well in some, but you'll see other areas where you need to improve. And these checklist points will also really help you strengthen your finances before we get to the year end. The first point is to calculate your net worth. Knowing your net worth is really critical because it helps you understand your overall financial health. It's kind of similar to stepping on the scale when you want to lose weight. If you don't have a starting point or some metric to follow, it's really difficult to know if or when you're making progress or when you finally hit your goal. I created a document to calculate and track my net worth called a Personal Financial Statement, or PFS. And it's different from a basic net worth statement because it includes some additional information you should keep up with. And you can create your PFS on paper, a Word document, or a spreadsheet. But if you'd like a copy of my template, you can certainly get it for free. All you have to do is download it right after you sign up for the Money Stack. That's the newsletter I mentioned. And you can sign up for free at lauradadams.com. And then it's going to automatically come to your inbox. You can download it and get started. Creating your PFS isn't difficult, but it might take a little bit of time just to gather and record all of your information, depending on how much you have. And using my template, you're going to find a tab for listing out all your assets. These are things you own that have value. It could be real estate, cars, jewelry, sporting goods, cash in the bank, taxable investments, and retirement accounts. I encourage you to aggregate any lower priced items under categories like household furnishings and electronics. However, it's a good idea to be as precise as possible for any expensive items like real estate and vehicles. And once you list your assets, my PFS will automatically add them up for you. Also, consider if each of your high-dollar assets is adequately insured, and I include a section on my PFS for insurance policies. These include home, auto, life, disability, and personal liability. So be sure to include your insurer's name, the policy number, and the amount of coverage that you have. Remember that your insurance protections should increase as your income and your net worth increases. Below your assets, you want to list out your liabilities. These are the things you owe, like mortgages, car loans, student loans, personal loans, credit cards, and any balances on lines of credit. And you'll find a separate tab for liabilities on my PFS template that automatically gives you a total and then subtracts it from your total assets. And the resulting number, whether it's positive or negative, is your net worth. If you have a higher net worth than last year, you have increased your assets, decreased your debts, or both. And that's the goal. You want to have a net worth that is trending up over time. So, if you're doing this for the first time, you want to keep that document and then compare it to your net worth next year, or maybe in 6 months, and monitor your progress. Even going from a negative net worth to a zero net worth or a meager net worth shows you're making progress. You're going in the right direction. So take the time to download my PFS or create your own and use it as a financial benchmark at the beginning and midpoint of each year. All right, the second point is to review your debt balances. If you have high interest loans or credit card debt, it can be really difficult to achieve financial success because it's going to take up so much of your income. So don't accept expensive credit card debt as a way of life or allow it to rob you of the ability to save and invest. If you're financing a lifestyle you can't afford, try waiting a little longer before buying something, sticking to a budget, and focusing on getting and staying out of debt to build financial security. You might want to check out my book. It's called Debt-Free Blueprint: How to Get Out of Debt and Build a Financial Life You Love. This is an in-depth resource that you can find as a paperback, ebook, and audiobook. When you update your PFS, part of that is taking note of all your debts, all your liabilities, and their interest rates. And in general, it's best to tackle your debts in order of the highest to the lowest interest rate. That way, paying off the highest rate interest debts first is going to save you the most in interest. All right, the third point of our checklist is to take a look at your savings. You want to strengthen your savings. Having a cash cushion helps you reduce stress, navigate financial hardships, and avoid debt. So review how much liquid savings you need and if you have enough in a high-yield bank account. In general, you need 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses on hand. So if you don't have enough and you need more, you might want to automate your emergency savings with a separate direct deposit that puts a flat amount or a percentage of your paycheck in the bank. So you could ask your employer to set up a separate direct deposit that's going to go directly to savings. Or maybe if you're self-employed like me, you could set up a recurring deposit that moves money from checking into savings. So just ask your employer about it, or create that transfer in your online bank account to move money from checking to savings on a monthly or weekly basis. Checkpoint number 4 is to estimate your retirement contributions. So if you have a retirement plan at work, it could be a 401k, 403b, 457, or a government thrift savings plan, review how much you have already contributed for the year. You can log on to your online retirement account to make contribution changes or ask your benefits administrator or an account custodian for help if you need it. For 2024, you can contribute up to $23,000 or $30,500 if you're over 50. So if you can max out your retirement account or get as close as possible before December 31st, I highly recommend it. Additionally, many employers match your retirement contributions. That really helps you build a larger nest egg and helps you cut your taxes. Even if you can't max out a retirement plan, make a goal to contribute enough to get the most matching funds possible from your employer. There is not a year-end deadline for other types of retirement accounts like an IRA or a SEP IRA, so you can make contributions for a tax year up to the due date for your tax return, and that includes any filing extensions. And if you still need to start investing for retirement, don't make the mistake of thinking that you're too young or that you'll just make up for the difference later on. Young people can amass a fortune on far less than someone who starts investing later in life due to the power of compounding. All right, the 5th checklist is to make the most of your health insurance. Your health insurance benefits and deductibles are tied to an annual schedule, so mid-year is a great time to see whether you've reached your deductible. If you have or you're close, you can save money by scheduling needed appointments and paying for healthcare before the end of the year. Otherwise, starting on January 1st, your deductible gets reset. In other words, after you reach your annual deductible, you've got the opportunity for your insurance company to pay as much of your medical expenses as possible, so take advantage of that. Delaying appointments means you could end up paying more than you have to. Checkpoint number 6 is to estimate contributions and spending for medical savings accounts. If you have a flexible spending account or FSA through your employer, it's also linked to the calendar year. And many employers offer them to help workers save for qualified expenses like childcare and medical expenses on a pre-tax basis. However, there is a deadline to spend your FSA each year. If you don't, you forfeit most of the excess. This is known as the use it or lose it rule. The cutoff varies by company, but it's typically December 31st. To make sure you spend everything in your account, you might opt for preventative care or supplies, like dental checkups, vision exams, new prescription eyeglasses, or contact lens solutions, so you don't lose one penny in the account. Note that there is not a spending deadline if you have a health savings account or HSA. Funds in those accounts can stay there indefinitely with no penalty, even if you change insurance companies, you become uninsured, or you're unemployed. For 2024, you can contribute up to $4,150 to an HSA when you have a qualifying, high-deductible plan that's just for yourself. But if you have an HSA-eligible family plan, so a healthcare policy that covers people, in addition to yourself, the HSA contribution limit doubles to $8,300. So see if you can max out the account by year end. And the 7th checkpoint is to review your emergency documents. If you had significant life changes in the first half of the year, like getting married, divorced, or having or adopting a child, you need to update your emergency documents. So these might include a will, a healthcare proxy, and a power of attorney. If you don't have emergency documents yet, you definitely need to make an appointment with an attorney to get them set up as soon as possible. Also, review critical financial accounts like your retirement plans, your life insurance policies, your bank accounts to double-check your beneficiaries. If you don't name a beneficiary, retirement funds typically go to a spouse, even if that person is now your ex-spouse. So be sure to update your retirement beneficiaries if you want the funds to go to someone else than you originally named. If you have a spouse or life partner, consider going through this mid-year financial checklist together. If you're single or you don't have someone you feel comfortable talking to about your finances and goals, you might want to consider working with a certified financial planner or CFP. If you're not sure where to find one, a good place to start is NAPFA.org. That stands for the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors. I hope this checklist will make sure that you do achieve your financial goals by the end of the year. And, if you haven't set any goals, don't let that stop you. Go ahead and go through the checklist and really make this a new beginning point for your finances, realizing that, you've got 6 months until the end of the year and you can really accomplish a lot between now and then. That's all for now. I'll talk to you soon. Until then, here's to living a richer life. Money Girl is a quick and dirty tips podcast, and I want to thank our fantastic team. The show is audio engineered by Steve Rickyberg. Our director of podcast is the wonderful Brandon Gachus. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchins. Our advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. And our wonderful marketing and publicity associate is Davina Tomlin.